Hello and welcome to this Intelligent Briefing. My name's Jess Phillips, Director of Strategic Content at Liferay Media. In this edition of our Deep Dive series, I'm speaking with Jonathan Tam, Vice President of Marketing at Liferay. We're talking today about the customer experience and finding out why companies should consider adopting a self-service strategy. Delighted to be joined today by Jonathan Tam, Vice President of Marketing at Liferay.
Hi, Jess. Thanks for having me.
So, Jonathan, customer service and customer experience has always been a priority for every organisation. What has changed about this recently?
You know, it's interesting. So before I came to Liferay, I was an analyst at Forrester and Sirius Decisions, and I've been covering digital transformation in earnest for the last, 7 or 8 years or so. And you're right. I think what's changed so much is just the amount of technology that's available out there, right? If you've seen any of the numbers, it went from, 5 or a couple hundred to now there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of different technology vendors that exist out there. And so with that, CIOs are really in a position to help drive that whole idea of digital transformation and really lead that and apply different technologies that are really going to help improve the overall customer experience, because that's what our customers are expecting, and our technology's finally almost caught up to allow us to do that. Because there are technologies like AI or machine learning or natural language processing or understanding or personalization that really just enable companies to make that experience more personal than ever now. And so really to improve that customer experience, companies really need to be able to provide self-service capabilities using all of those technologies and putting them all together. And so that's what we see a lot at Liferay, right? Because Liferay provides a digital experience platform. It allows companies to create things like an intranet or an extranet, an authenticated experience, a website. And we've seen a huge increase in our clients using the platform, the technology, to create self-service portals and for customers as well as their suppliers and vendors. And this surge is happening for the past, 5, 8, 10 years. But now even more so in 2020 and beyond, post-COVID or in COVID world, self-service has just become even more important now to drive that customer experience.
And can you elaborate on the types of technologies that companies should consider for customer experience projects?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mentioned, right, there's thousands of them out there. But when we think of things like AI, right, artificial intelligence and machine learning, it sounds very futuristic and robots and things like that, this science fiction type of things that we see. And more importantly for companies and for CIOs, it sounds costly, right? A technology that's going to do this work for me and make all of these challenges. But if you look at something as simple, and I use that term loosely, as chatbots, right? Chatbots are a great example of AI, ML, and natural language understanding and how those two things come together to really provide a good interaction between a company and their customers in an automated fashion. Now, when we look at some of those technologies, though, it's not about how do we just get a technology to solve a problem. We always encourage our clients to start with their customer needs. So how do we do this, and how do we focus on that? And then how does technology help solve that problem? And then how do we serve it? Because if we do it the other way around, if we look technology first, then we end up force-fitting companies in there or technologies in there, and it ends up not servicing their customers or producing silos, right? Which again leads to not servicing their customers. So a lot of it now, we talk about futuristic AI, ML, but we do recommend companies looking for platforms that do, at the very least, enable AI, ML types of integrations. And I would, though, just be a little bit wary about companies that, or technologies that say AI, ML is the answer, right? This is it. We are an AI, ML type of a vendor, and we're going to solve all your problems, because it's not a magic bullet, right? It has to be integrated. But I think the other part of it is we talk about personalization, and that's so important because we want to make our customers feel like they're getting a personal experience, even online. And frankly, it's not about what we want. Our customers expect that from us now, right? And so just by asking customers to log into a site to provide some information, if you go back into the what's in it for them, we can provide that tailored experience because we know their history or their interests or what products and things like that that they're using. Now, even if you don't have a logon, you could still provide that personalized experience through cookies or tracking and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's really just about providing that personalization that's going to make our customers feel good, right? Make it faster, make it easier for them to do business with us, and basically just reduce as much friction as possible in that whole process.
Sure. And how do CIOs then balance this need to satisfy the customer with the right technology, while very importantly, staying on top of technology trends?
Yeah, today's CIOs, they have a tough job. They've got to manage the need for a reliable technology infrastructure. They have to prepare their companies for what's coming next and what's the next boom of technology and how do we stay on top of all that latest technology, all at the same time, right? Appeasing and working with their business partners on what's technology or the CIO's role in customer experience and how do I implement this self-service functionality. I remember years ago, I presented at a conference because there was all this buzz around the CMO wants to be the next CIO. I will tell you on behalf of most CMOs out there, we do not want to be the next CIO, right? Because that's a lot out there and it's a lot. But if you do it properly, it's not going to just deliver on the customer needs, but it's also going to satisfy the company's goals and frankly, make the company or the CIO or IT's job easier, right? And so around that, it's really around evaluating what's something simple, what's something turnkey to help meet their needs? How do I integrate with my existing or legacy software and our tools? And how do I drive or utilize that technology through some customization? And frankly, there's a lot of really good solutions out there. And obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but one of the reasons that CIOs really like Liferay is because it is open source and we have open APIs and it enables integrations with pretty much just about any technology out there. And it's completely customizable because of how it's built.
You highlighted the tough role that CIOs have today. How do CIOs prepare a technology investment strategy while balancing so many different priorities and challenges?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I think it keeps coming back to this, back to focusing on the customer needs and their wants, right? And so CIOs and the rest of their teams, unlike many of their company, of their other peers in their company, they really need to identify what are the emerging customer experience trends and what's the impact that's going to have on their business. Because again, there are so many choices out there. So they need to start to look at, is the technology going to employ the adequate level of security? Is it going to drive and ensure customer trust? And how are we aligning on the business goals that the technology is being brought in to solve or to enhance or to help achieve? And so one bit of advice that I'd give is to adopt technologies that really enable customers to help launch into customer experience and self-service or self-service portals in really a phased approach, right? We shouldn't try to boil the ocean or look for this magic bullet or this magic unicorn technology that's going to solve everything. But instead, it's around prioritizing and picking a project that's really manageable and measurable, right? And so then if we have that, we can use the success with that one project and really broaden those initiatives and start to deliver more, ideally, again, using those same technology or that same tech stack or that infrastructure. And so a lot of that is really about delivering the customer experience. And when we do that, it's about having those specific goals and the specific outcomes in mind, right? We want to make sure that what we're doing on the front end with experience is actually tied into what we could do with our back office priorities, right? So for example, we can't just, forget security or GDPR and things like that in the name of a good customer experience, right? So we need to get those things together. And I think the CIO is uniquely positioned to be able to pull in all of the right stakeholders to have those regular meetups and really identify what are the challenges, what are our potential weak points in our self-service strategy and ideas here.
I guess they have that kind of holistic view of everything that's going on.
Absolutely.
What are some of the indicators then that would tell leaders that they should be exploring self-service options?
Yeah, I think a key one for self-service is that whole idea of, are you delivering self-service, right? So these indicators are things like, are we getting high call volumes into customer support? Are we seeing long wait times? Are we seeing a frustrated, unhappy support team because they're just really answering the same repeated mundane issues. And of course, the biggest indicator is dissatisfied customers, right? Now, hopefully we're seeing CIOs or companies address this whole need for self-service before they start to lose customers, because at the end of the day, right, one unsatisfactory experience is enough to drive somebody out to one of our competitors. So a big key of that is just managing customer expectations, or understanding customer expectations, and managing on top of that, because customers now, they expect that they can log in and that they can get all types of account information online, whether it's an insurance company and looking up my policy, or a bank and my statement and reordering checks, or healthcare providers and logging in, seeing my records and my latest test results and things like that, right? All of this means that what we're logging into, those companies that we work with, we have to be able to deliver that complete account experience online, or frankly, we're going to risk them saying, well, let me go somewhere else where I can get that, and from our competitors, things like that.
Let's dive a little deeper on that subject. What are some of the specific challenges that you see companies trying to solve with self-service?
Yeah, I think it really boils down to three things that companies are trying to solve with self-service, right? Simplification, automation, and cost savings, right? Because first of all, companies really just want to simplify what it takes to do business with them, right? And this has to be done, again, with meeting customer satisfaction and expectations and customer experience. So, for example, if I add self-service capabilities, it's so that our customers can have 24/7 interactions with us, right? And that we can have that with them. And those interactions, frankly, they have to be multi-channel or omni-channel, right? That information, those services that we're providing, they have to be available across any device, right? Whether it's your phone, your tablet, your computer, in a kiosk, whatever that has to be. It has to be easy to interact, and then it has to be easy to find that information. And that finding that information is things like logical navigation, or a good UI, user interface and user experience, and natural language search and things like that. Now, the more that companies can enable through this self-service type of approach, the lower the overall cost will be. Sometimes it seems like a big investment to overhaul your technology to deliver on this self-service. But in fact, you will see cost savings if you start to look at those key indicators. So Harvard Business Review, for example, did a study, and it was that live service, so phone, email, web chat, things like that, ends up costing around $7 for B2C and about $13 for B2B. Now, if you think about every single one of those interactions and those kind of stacking up over time, actually delivering self-service through technology ends up costing about pennies when you start to look at it over the life of the number of interactions I'm able to serve. So launching this whole idea of self-service capability just makes good financial sense. It just ends up reducing those costs, which is the key part. Now, obviously, another big part of simplification and cost savings is this whole idea of automation, right? Because the more automated the system, the more automated the approach that we can put out there, that ends up lowering the cost as well of serving our customers. So it gets things like it gets non-IT users, non-technical users to actually think about it, which is something that not a lot of companies think about, right? Especially from a CIO, it's what do my IT, what do my developers, what do my engineering teams need to support? But actually, one of the things that our clients like about Liferay is it really enables non-technical users to manage a lot about the sites and the portals that they're using. It then lets them manage their whole idea of customer experience, which actually means a decreased dependence on IT. And what that decreased dependence doesn't mean we're getting rid of IT. It doesn't mean that we don't need them. It actually opens up the IT staff to focus on some more forward-thinking projects to help us achieve the overall company goals. Right? So self-service is really about decreasing those mundane and those repetitive tasks that are typically done by customer service and sales. And so when we answer those questions, those same old questions from customers, it ends up taking time and adding costs. And with self-service, we really start having sales, customer service, and IT really focus on some of those higher value items. But I think also one more thing that's really important for technology or for CIOs when we start to look at projects like this is it's also about bringing data together, because we know that there is so much data across so many different systems and we have in there. And so we have to be able to aggregate this to get that 360 view of our customer, right? Or that single source of truth for the customer. because that really helps companies better manage and use that data to help drive improved decision making. And frankly, to track trends and usage things and understanding what access they have and where they're getting their data and how they will use it. So a lot of that comes from a platform that can bring this all together and tie that all together. And even when you expand it beyond just portals and knowledge management into things like e-commerce, now there's a ton more data systems, right? And we've opened up a lot more connections. So really it's around how do I bring technologies together that can act as a data hub? And frankly, that's one of the things that we see most popular with what people are doing with Liferay.
And do you see that companies are adopting self-service strategies?
Thankfully, yes, right? And because if you look back in 2019, about 81% of customers said that they were trying to solve their problems before contacting a rep, right? They were going to that self-service method. I'm sure that you do the same, right? What's the first thing you do? You're going to go Google something, right? You're going to go log in and try and do it yourself. But in fact, only 48% of companies said that they were starting their interactions with self-service, right? So there's a huge mismatch there. And if companies aren't prioritizing self-service, they're going to end up losing their customers, because I guarantee that their competitors, some of their competitors at the very least, if not all of them, will be. And this is true of B2B or B2C, because at the end of the day, we're all consumers. We all have the same demands and the same expectations, right? And again, we just need to look at our own behaviors for that, right? We get frustrated if I have to pick up the phone and call someone, right? If I have to go try and actually have a conversation with someone, right? A lot of times that's a hassle, because I'm trying to do 10 different things at a time here. So instead, we just want to go to a website. We want to go log in. We want to get easy answers. I don't want to be put on hold and things like that. So there's a lot of options out there for technology that's available, which is where, thankfully, we're seeing that adoption for companies picking up on them and utilizing those technologies. And that's where, companies, again, like Liferay, we're doing well in this pandemic, because we are a platform that enterprises use to create these self-service portals and deliver this personalized, customized experiences. So sure, it's self-serving, but we are here to help because our customers need it, our buyers need it from that standpoint.
And how does a self-service strategy often evolve?
Yeah, a lot of times it starts with just making sure that we know what our customers want to know, what our customers are trying to do, right? Do they have this access to information? Are they having a good experience? And once we're able to make that easy and accurate and serve up content and make that accessible for both internal audiences, right? Our intranets, our employees and things like that have access to that information from a self-service standpoint, and external customers, suppliers, vendors, distributors, partners, they require knowledge management too. And so once we've delivered on that and we understand those different points, then it's about just, again, foundationally providing that information. But then we can go there to grow and to expand our relationships. And that includes growing sales. Because at the end of the day, there is a natural connection between helping our customers with their self-service needs and then their loyalty and their success with our companies. And so evolving self-service capabilities are part of this, because in the name of self-service, more and more organizations are looking at things not just about making it easier for them to access information, but doing online commerce, right? And expanding into that standpoint. And so as we add commerce into our self-service strategy and evolving there, that ends up combining additional customer data and additional engagement for future sales and something else that needs to be looked at. Now, part of that evolution is really around how to identify the use cases that are going to make the best ROI for our business. And that involves what are the best services, what are the best technology, and what are the best integrations to meet that key idea of the business requirements. So again, if I just tie back to the evolution of B2B commerce, it's a great example of how do I get business value from a solution. Because if we start to think about just even from a B2B standpoint, I want to understand what purchase history and product catalogs and recommendations that I can make based on your user behavior or your browsing history or past history or other users that have had similar purchase patterns. And so if we're able to use this data, then we can really suggest the right products, the relevant products, start to increase the average order value. And all of this is actually done with minimizing salesperson, right? Without having to get them involved. But at the same time, again, it's not about ignoring them. It's also about empowering them, empowering our own sales teams by giving them the right information and the right behaviors about their accounts and their buyers at the end of the day.
What types of organizations and customers would you say that this applies to?
Yeah, I think the most important part when we talk about customers, it's really important to think about that customers is anybody that the customers or that the company's trying to serve. This could be someone who's using our product or service, right? That's the most traditional sense of customer. But frankly, it could be our resellers, our partners, our franchisees. It might even be our employees, right? These are people who are using our own platform, our own products, or our own technology to help deliver that experience. And if we can serve all of these people with the information they need so that they can help when they need it and help deliver that great experience, then it's going to start to impact the success of our overall business. And now, when we talk about what types of organization, it's really important, especially now, to focus on basically all organizations, because the pandemic's really shed a light on a lot of the unmet needs for both internal and external audiences to be able to deliver more through self-service, right? So people stuck at home are trying to conduct business still, and it's really highlighted or heightened that need for access to information, to conduct transactions, and to basically understand what is that self-service capability and how do I approve it? Because frankly, nobody wants to spend time on the phone anymore or wait for an answer or to go into multiple places because everybody's trying to do 10 things at once, both personally and professionally, while I'm sitting in my home office and things like that, right? And this is frankly, it's industry agnostic. We're seeing this from all of our customers, all of our prospects across all vertical industries, from manufacturing to banking to insurance to healthcare to even education, higher ed, lower ed, everything like that, and government as well.
Tell us then, what makes Liferay's offering special?
I think Liferay special. I mean, we've been highly rated by analysts for many years because of our ability, frankly, to unify multiple systems and data sources and still basically deliver that personalized user experience and that whole ability to execute and customize that solution based on their business needs and through our flexible integratable platform, right? And so earlier and throughout this, I've stressed the need to really put customer needs first, and that's what Liferay aims to do as well. So a lot of what drives us is how we partner with our customers, right? How we help them deliver on their business needs. So for anybody out there that's looking for technology to really drive that customer experience, I really just hope and encourage them to have that conversation with us and see how we can meet those needs together.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure to chat to you today.
Thanks for having me, Jess. I appreciate it.
Thank you.